In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an adventure game for DOS that has static images in it. I'm going to assume you kind of have watched the other tutorials and know how to make the basic adventure game, but this is just to show you how to integrate graphics into it. Let me start by giving this project a name. I'm just going to call it Castle Quest because I have some castle images that I can use. I'll just leave the default text there, and I'll call it like Quest. And let's give it my name here. There we go. And then let's go to image resources, and let's pick a title screen. So in GIMP here, I have made a bitmap. So this is a 320, it's 320 wide by 200 tall. That is the dimensions of a CGA screen. And I've saved this out as a bitmap, a BMP file. So I'm going to go back over to Lantern here, and I'm going to select the file, and let's go to my pictures, and let's find that title that I just created and open that. Okay, now how do we control what that is going to look like when it gets turned into CGA graphics? Well, let's open up the Preview Adjust button here and edit that image. So let's click Preview Adjust here, and that should bring up. That is not the right picture. Let's try, is that the right one? That's definitely the wrong picture. No, that's the right picture. I'm losing my mind. Okay, so let's now play around with these sliders to control the thresholds for what this thing sees as black and white. So if I lower this, there we go, I'll have less black. And actually that looks pretty good. And if I raise this, see, I'll get like less white. So we can kind of control what this looks like. That actually looks pretty good. And this right bitmap button is if you're trying to build an image library. So if I click on this, maybe I want to save a copy of this for something, but I don't really have to. I could call it Castle Title. This is just I'm like maybe trying to build up a reusable image library. Lantern will remember these threshold settings, and then let's click Apply. And now when we run this, that will be the splash screen for this game. So I'm going to save this as Castle Quest here, which actually I already did. Okay, save that. Yes. All right. Now let's just test that little bit out. Oh, also, do I need to click Enable Graphics? Not really, not for DOS, but it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you either way. Also, if you do want graphics, it is probably best to maybe uncheck Show Status Line, and maybe you don't want a score on the top of your screen. So if you're going to have graphics, you probably want to uncheck these. And then let me resave my project. Now what I'm going to do is export this for DOS, and all of those, any image resources I have will get written out. So let's just let Lantern do its thing here, and it may take a bit because processing the images can take a bit of time. So I'm just going to pause the recording here and pick up when it comes back. Okay, so Lantern, the first thing it does is it writes out the virtual machine version of your game to the so it'll build your, I call it Cased Quest. All right, that's annoying. It builds it to a folder, and then appends LVM for Lantern Virtual Machine. And then what it's going to do is create another folder called _DOS that's got the image resources in it. So there's really no difference between when you're running in DOS or you're running on Linux or something. You're still running the virtual machine version of your game. It's just that the DOS interpreter knows to look for the images. So I'm going to click OK here, and you can see now it has put this in it's supposed to be Castle Quest, which I misspelled, _DOS. So let's go look in that folder and see what's there. So there's Cased Quest _DOS. It's going to drive me crazy. Let's go in there. So there is LVM. That is the virtual machine. That's the interpreter for your game. Quest is the name of the file. And notice we have something here called title. That's the image file that just got written out. Now, how would we run this? Like you can't double click on this and run this because this is a DOS executable. We need to run this in DOSBox. So maybe we'll take a quick look at how to set that up. All right, so to make this easy, let's go edit our DOSBox config file so that when DOSBox starts up, we can just mount a drive and be in that folder where our game is. So to find your DOSBox config file, that's going to be C drive, users, your name, app data, roaming, and then let's find, I think it's in local, no, app data, roaming, yeah, do we have a setting here for DOSBox config, local, there it is, DOSBox. So app data local DOSBox, and in here you'll find a DOSBox config file. So let's edit that. And then down here, let's mount, we're going to make like a virtual drive so that we can just, when DOSBox start up, we can just say like, we can just change the drive letter and be in that folder where our game is. So to do that, use the mount keyword, and I don't know, I'll call it like the W drive or something. And then you just need the path to your game. So let's go, that we can get from our Windows folder here. I got to go find that again. Arg. Okay, so I've gone and found that. The folder for your game is going to be under. It's going to be in a subfolder under wherever you put Lantern. I'm just going to click on this and select Properties, and then I'll just copy that whole path right there. Or actually, let's go into that folder and say, can I say copy path, copy address? Let's try that. Hey, there we go. So now when I start up DOSBox, if I just type W:, it'll take me to this folder where my project lives. All right, so let's start up DOSBox here. I don't think I need that anymore. And just test this out. DOSBox. Okay. And let's type W now. And if I type dir, we should see there's our folder. Okay, so I should just be able to type LVM, which is Lantern Virtual Machine Quest. And let's see what happens. There's our Castle Quest. Cool. And now if I hit space, now the game starts up. So there's our title screen. All right, cool. Now for adding images for your rooms, it's very similar. So let's go back to Lantern here. And if I go to image resources, let's create a new image resources. And I'll call it like, castle image, or say create. And then maybe I'll select a file here. And I've actually included in Lantern now a folder called images that's got a lot of this stuff in it. So let's go like castles. And this is just stuff I kind of grabbed off of Wikipedia or whatever, Google Images, and then kind of modified. So let me just grab a picture of a castle here. And if I wanted to preview adjust it, I could, but it's probably going to look okay the way it is. But you can play with it if you want. What's that? Oh, because it's already black and white to begin with. So I'll just click cancel. Okay, so now let's go back to our, okay, so this is why we need to check enable graphics. Yes, we do need to check enable graphics. Let's go back to our rooms, and now for room 1 here, I'll call it like south of castle. There we go. And see, now down here I have a drop down for my different image resources. I'm going to pick castle image, And so now this castle image is associated with this location, and I can say, you are at the end of a road standing before an imposing castle. There we go. Okay. And now I'll save my project, and let me do the export again, export it for DOS. And now it'll rebuild that image as well. I'm going to just pause the recording right here just because it might take a little bit. Okay, so the build finished there. Actually, that didn't take that long. You'll notice now in our Castle Quest DOS folder, we have a file called 0. And that's image resource 0. So now let's go run this in DOSBox. Now if I type quit here and dir, nuts, I can see I got an issue. Let me so we have to kill, unfortunately we have to kill DOSBox, because when DOSBox starts up, it seems like it caches the files that are there, and if you add new files, it doesn't recognize them. So let's type W to go to that drive that we are. Now if I type dir, we should see that file 0.img that's there. And now if I type LVM and I run my game quest, there's our castle, and there, south of castle, you're at the end of a road. You are at the end of a road standing before an imposing castle. Look. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's how to get an image in your game. Okay, so now the next step would be like, maybe you have a sword or something like that, and you want, when you look at it, you want to see a particular image, or maybe you want to change the image. Maybe you have an image of a gate, and sometimes the gate's open and closed. I'll do that in like another video because I feel like I've rambled on long enough. But that's actually, that wasn't that bad. The trick is when you're making your images, it really helps to make sure that the height is a multiple of 8, and that way you don't accidentally like clip when the text doesn't clip off the bottom of the image or whatever. But there you go. I mean, it actually looks pretty good. You may get artifacting depending on your particular monitor. I have a CGA card with a composite monitor plugged in, and the artifacting is actually kind of bad. So like I am working on improving the graphics, but they're just supposed to be black and white at this point. But the composite monitor is producing artifact colors, so it's kind of a little wonky still. But if anybody's using this and you really want it to look good, like let me know. I could support different color palettes or something if I had to. This is just sort of a prototype I'm throwing out there. If anybody's interested in it, let me know, and I will keep building it out. So in the next video, what I'll show you how to do is like change the image for a particular location, and maybe if you examine an item, it will show you. You look at a map, and it gives you a picture of the map rather than describing the map, or you look at a statue and you see a picture of the runes that you have to figure out. It's a visual puzzle or something like that. So I will show you how to do that in the next video, but there it is. Okay, so the trick is there. Just remember to enable graphics, so you get this little drop down menu right here, and your DOSBox config file is in your users, your name, app data, local, and folder, and then you can map that drive. So there it is, users, your name, app data, local, DOSBox, and then in there you'll find a config file, and you can set up that that path, so you don't have to like mount that every time. And then also remember, DOSBox seems to cache the files that are there when it starts up. So if you rebuild your project, you're going to have to restart DOSBox to get the latest stuff. So there you go. Hope that helps. I'll get a video too up soon on how to change images and how to associate images with objects.